Okay, if you're a neutral watching this game, you've probably enjoyed yourself. But if you're a French fan or even a Welsh fan, you've probably had several heart palpitations. This was actually quite a shocking game, quality-wise. Yes, the conditions didn't help, but it was a game of two halves and a game of two with two sides that were good and bad at the same time. And I don't think if both sides play like this in the following games, they are going to get slaughtered. I'm not holding back on that. I really am being critical. That first half by Wales and that second half by France. Those, if you were to do that again, they're going to get a hiding to nothing. I honestly believe that. The French on top in the first half, but missed kicks have proved crucial as I predicted. That's the only thing on my prediction I got right was the missed kicks. But the Welsh were passive, and they can't afford to do that again. The Welsh were exceptionally passive, not enough aggression in the tackle. They were allowing themselves to be pulled all over the place. They didn't take the contact area physically enough. The ruck and maul, they were getting turned over. Um, let's have a look at the tries though. Let's have a look at the missed kicks. Let's have a look at actually where the points came from, and then we can discuss how bad both sides were. Pickermore scores a try in 6 minutes. Great bit of build-up play, but then Para misses two kicks in succession. The conversion misses that, hooks it, and the penalty hooks it. He couldn't get a. Normally for a very good goal kicker, he was shocking today. So that's two missed kicks. Then Anscombe replies with a missed kick as well. So neither goal kicker in the first half was really on target at all. They were both missing. Not hard, not the easiest, but they're not hard kicks for players who regularly are goal kickers for the club and country. They're the chosen goal kickers or part of the chosen goal kicking lineup, because you may have more than one goal kicker in your side. These were the guys who were selected by their coaches to goal kick, and they couldn't for the first half. It was just like watching how bad can you kick a goal. Liam Williams disallowed try, correct decision, but it was the best bit of play Wales had in that first half. It was the only bit of play Wales had really had where they actually showed what they could do in attack when quick ball comes, and they decide to focus. But he dropped the ball. Handling errors were the Welsh handling. I don't know how the French were handling. The French were handling like it was sunny, dry, and 30 degrees outside. They were playing with flair and power. They were throwing the ball around, and it was coming off because they were passing at the right time. There was good communication between the receiver and the passer, and it actually looked quite nice on the eye. It was some really good attacking play by the French, as shown by Uge's try on 23 minutes. Yeah. Missed kick, disallowed try, punishment. In the space of 9 minutes, it's gone from a missed penalty and a disallowed try to being 2 tries down, so 10-0 down. But again, Para misses a conversion. Now, it's not a hard kick, but it's not the easiest kick. I think the conditions might have had a bit to play, but Para just did not look right today. He did not look right with ball in hand. Camille Lopez did. Para didn't look 100%. Anscombe misses yet another penalty on 27 minutes. And, not good enough. Then the Welsh, a few minutes later, give a penalty away right in front of their posts, and Lopez decides, I'm taking on kicking responsibility now. Slots it. And then the drop goal. He'd been in the pocket several times, and it was hinting that they were going to use that as either a decoy or they actually were going to go for the drop goal. And when it comes to Lopez, it was not enough pressure on the kicker. And he slots a drop goal dead on half-time. So it's half-time, it's 16-0. And the Welsh were that bad. They deserve to be more behind. If those kicks had gone over, we're looking at a big scoreline. The fact this could be an uphill task. But the missed kicks have actually proved crucial in the second half. We'll get to that. Half-time comes. What I had noticed, graphic comes up. The French pack were 50 kilos heavier than the Welsh pack. Well, actually, technically 52. They weighed in at 956 to 904. They were significantly bigger. The Welsh pack stood up well, but could that possibly be why the French tied in the second half? The pack weight? I don't know. The players they brought on seemed to do quite well. Some of the young French players did quite well for large periods in the game. But that was a little stat that I thought was kind of interesting. I'm going to try and find an interesting stat from every game that I can watch. I'm not able to watch all the games this Six Nations, but every game I watch, I will put an interesting stat in. Anyway, back to the game. Second half starts. And Wales start the second half how the French started the first. They score 6 minutes in on 46 minutes. Thomas Williams scores a very, very good try. Out of nothing. The Welsh have shown nothing in attack at this point apart from Liam Williams' disallowed try. Thomas Williams, yes, the guy with the weird spelling of Thomas, so Thomas, he goes over. Anscombe finally gets a kick on goal. They stuck with Anscombe for goal kicking. possibly because he was the only goal kicker on the pitch for the Welsh. And this is where the French, I think, have an advantage. If they've got one goal kicker who's struggling, they can bring another one on. Anscombe was the only out-and-out goal kicker that can kick the goal on the pitch for the Welsh for the first 52 minutes. So he converts, and that was a really good conversion, really good conversion as well. That was important. That was a 7-pointer. That gave him some confidence. The George North first try, this is, I think, for me, the turning point, because the French got back in it. They woke up. They got physical again. There is an offside penalty advantage, and I was shouting at the screen when Anscombe kicked ahead, because Uge had that covered. All he's got to do is put his foot through the ball and just kick it into the stand dead. I don't care how he does it. It's going to be a 5-metre scrum, but the ball is dead. The French can reset. He goes in to slide in, and he gets his body position wrong. Not going to lie. And he twists his body, and it's a bar of soap. He gets his body position all wrong. His head's ending up facing towards the Welsh attacking players, and George North gets the easiest try you're going to see on George North ever score. And that's on 52 minutes, and Anscombe converts. That's 14 unanswered points. So the French have had 16 unanswered points. The Welsh have retaliated with 14 in very similar circumstances to the first half. Then comes the Lopez missed penalty, which came at a time when the French had got some ball back. They had a little look at themselves. Uge's head's dropped. He didn't really do much for the rest of the game. He looked completely shot mentally after that. Lopez had a chance, go for the corner, give it to the forwards that had actually been on top, let the forwards do some work. He decides, and the team decide to go for goal, and he misses it. And that was the crucial kick missed. Those 4 kicks, it doesn't matter what the Welsh have done, but those 4 kicks would have been an extra 10 points the French have thrown away today. I mean, the Welsh threw away 6 points from kicks, so it would have still been a Welsh win had all the kicks gone over, but you can't throw away 10 points at international level Test rugby at this level. In Tier 1, you can't, and expect to win. You just can't do that. That, I think, summed up the French second half in a nutshell. He had an opportunity to steady the nerves, put a 5-point lead in, and he's hooked it. Then Dan Biggar responds a few minutes later with a penalty of his own on 62, and Wales have taken the lead. That is a lot of unanswered points, and the French are starting to have a meltdown. But then Lopez, a few minutes later, slots a penalty, and the French are in the lead. Within 60 seconds, the game is over. They're trying to overdo it. They've got the lead back. All they've got to do is keep it tight. Yes, Wales will get a losing bonus point at this point, but all the French have to do is keep it in the forwards, give it to an outside centre, hit it up, recycle, hit it up, recycle, put the ball in the corner, make the Welsh player have to make a decision. No, they decide to throw the expansive passes in the wet, and it's not just one bad pass that's loopy above head height. It's not 2, it's 3. And the third one, George North has decided, I'm not going to tackle the player who's going to receive the ball. It will be Entermac. I'm going to grab the ball and I'm going to go, because that means the French winger is up, the French outside centre is up. Had George North misread that, there's an overlap of 2-1 and the French score a try. But had the passes been about half a foot lower, they would have scored the try, because they would have been accurate passes that could be passed on quicker, and George North would have misread it, quite literally. Because the passes are that bad, George North reads what they're going to do. It's so telegraphed. It's hospital pass, central. That interception, he juggles it a little bit. I thought if he drops it there, then the French can win this game. That's a scrum. The French scrum have been solid throughout the entire match. He catches it, he scores it, Biggar converts it. But then, after that conversion on 71 minutes, the Welsh didn't seem like they wanted to win the game, because they gave the French so many opportunities to come back at them. Penalties. There was the quick tap and go, which Wayne Barnes called back, and I think that is wrong. I think he should have let that go. And he's called it back. And Lopez was on the mark. Wayne Barnes has looked to him, waited 6 seconds, and then he's blown the whistle because a Welsh player suddenly goes, I've hurt myself. Yeah. I think Wayne Barnes should have gone play on. You've decided after the tap and go to go to ground and say you're injured. I say they should have let that go. We don't know what would have happened after that. There's only 5 points in it. But Wayne Barnes brings the penalty back and the French make a mess out of it. But the Welsh didn't look 100% in control after they took the lead. They didn't. They were giving the French opportunities. So the Welsh game management is called into question. But the French game management for 71 minutes was not there. in the second half. Up from 40 to 71 minutes, the French game management went out the window. The Welsh game wasn't there in the first half, far too passive. But the goal kicking by Morgan Parra, I'm very surprised Parra's missed 3 kicks. Really surprised with the goal kick of Parra's standard. And Lopez missing 1. Lopez isn't as good at kicking at goal, but that's a lot of points they've handed thrown away. But even with all the missed kicks, if they were all taken, Wales win the game. Wales would have won the game by a point. In the end, they've won by 5, but they would have lost by 5 had France got all their kicks. So missed kicks have proved ultimately crucial. And I don't think Morgan Parra was 100% in the game. I think he's either under the weather or he's carrying a knock. And they've decided to go with him in the belief that he can get through. And it hasn't paid off. So Jules Brunel, some question marks over, was Parra fit enough to play? But here's to sum up. The French, very good in the first half. The goal kicking needs to improve. And this is a problem with the French have had for a while, is if your main goal kicker is struggling for the French, and then their secondary goal kicker is struggling for the French, there's no one else. Goal kicking is a massive issue for the French. And then also game management. They fall apart in the second half. Mistakes all over the place. Lack of leadership. Girardot, the captain, comes off after about 50 minutes. Normally he plays a whole 80, so that's a big cause of concern, is who is the vice captain, who is the leader of that team if Girardot is not playing or is subbed off. Leadership has disappeared, but in the first half of Wales, there was no leadership. They were passive, absolutely passive, and they were basically saying to the French, here you go, score as many points as you can. And the French did score as many points as they physically could. And the French were very, very fluid in the first half. Good hands, good pace to the game, good awareness, situational awareness. They chose when to offload, when to take the contact. They were actually playing rugby perfectly. Apart from kicking a goal, they were playing perfectly. Good up and unders, good contests, putting pressure on the receiver, choosing to kick, chip, choosing to run, everything. Their decision making, brilliant in the first half. Second half, disaster. Wales' decision making, too passive. No leadership, no direction. There was no energy in that first half by Wales. Absolutely none. They were just saying to the French, "Come on," and the defence was breached. So the Welsh, who are proud of their defence with Sean Edwards, will be asking questions about some of their defending, but also they'll be asking questions about the lack of attacking in that first half. Second half is a different matter. The French fell apart, but against a different team, they don't necessarily get these opportunities. And that's the problem that Wales, I think, have to solve. Is this French side? We know they are unpredictable. They can be brilliant or bad. Normally, they're good in one game, bad in the next. But in this case, they were bad in the second half, good in the first. I don't think Wales have that opportunity to get 24 points in the second half if, let's say, that's Ireland, that's Scotland. Even Italy, I think Italy would have probably had, if they were ahead at that point, I think they would keep with the same game plan. The French just didn't have a game plan in the second half. England, they squeaked to win last year against Wales. Again, a allowed try kind of video ref there. But I would say any other side in the Six Nations, Wales may not have won that game. The French are just so Jekyll and Hyde. They are the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team when it comes to seeing out games that they're winning. When they're ahead at half time, you can never say the French have won that game. And the way they played that second half was a mess, absolute disaster. And I think that falls on the coach, also falls on the leadership core of that side, who are the leaders of that side. But there we go. That's my view on things. Obviously, here's my little note of the day: was the French pack was 50 kilos heavier than the Welsh pack, and I'll try and do that in every game. The random fact of the match, but Wales need to improve their handling in all conditions, and even with the second half, there were moments where they still allowed the French too many opportunities to get back in it. And if that's another side, they will get back in it. So things to work on with the Welsh, I think. Getting an 80-minute game together, they've done this several times before, where they do switch off for large periods, and they were so passive. And the French, we don't know what the French. I think they really need to look at their league and coaching structures, because this has been a disaster now for the better part of 12 years. The French have been like this, and they're good 1 minute and bad the next. And in this case, they're good for 40 minutes and shocking for 40 minutes. And I can't see the French winning any games playing like that. The first half, if they play every game like the first half from here on out, they have a very good chance to do very well this tournament and in going into the World Cup. But if they play like that second half, again, they're in trouble. And the Italians have now beaten the French a few times. And the French have played like this. They play good in sections and then they throw it away. So I can see the French possibly getting the wooden spoon if they play like that again, where they have an opportunity to kick on. Their goal kicking was shocking and their second half game management was non-existent. But there we go. That's my view on things. I think the Welsh are lucky to get out of that with a 5-point win, considering their first half was absolutely appalling. And if the French had got all their kicks, they would have won the game, even with their shocking second half. So I think the Welsh will take the win, but then I don't think they'll be happy with how they played. I really don't. I think some players may see their places under threat, and we may see a different Welsh lineup for the next game, personally. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your thoughts below, and I will have some more videos for you soon.